Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, time appropriate greetings. My name is Dewan Ahmed. I'm your host. This is ShipTalk podcast, where we talk about the ins and outs, the ups and downs of software delivery. With me today, I have Adeeb Valiulla, who leads the developer productivity and efficiency space at Harness. Welcome, Adeeb.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I can see fall colors out of my window in the east coast of Canada, beautiful New Brunswick. How is it there, Adib? Do you see fall colors?
Yeah, I'm dialing in from San Francisco. Today, we have some rain, some outer cast, no sun today, but another good day to be here.
So you don't enjoy, I guess, shoveling snow. Like you're deprived of that pleasure.
That is correct. I had my fair share of shoveling snow, walking in the terrible winters when I was in Chicago, but now that's be beyond me and enjoying San Francisco for now.
Hey man, if you ever miss shoveling snow, you can just take a short flight, come over here. I'll have a driveway full of snow. But I don't want to scare our listeners and viewers with all the snow stories. What I do want to mention is we actually kicked off season four with Nathan Harvey. We talked about DORA and the framework to measure engineering productivity. Adeeb is another leader in this space of engineering excellence, developer productivity. So Adeeb, I want to hear about your journey. Like, how did you end up in this space? Where did your career start?
Yeah, sure. So my journey really started back in Sensormatic, where I came in as an engineer, passionate about the craft and honesty, just eager to grow in my own career as well. At one point, I asked a pretty simple question. How do I know I am really making a difference? And the truth was, I did not get a clear or a measurable answer. That moment stuck with me. I started sketching few of my ideas on a whiteboard, how I could actually show the business the impact I was making, while also surfacing opportunities to improve. Now, this was way back in 2016, long before developer productivity, engineering intelligence, efficiency were common language. I had built a homegrown project that measured things like lead time, developer punctuality, delivery punctuality, quality, and efficiency. Now, it began as a tiny experiment with just my team, my product, and it caught on pretty fast. Before long, all the business units at Sensormatic and every engineering team at Sensormatic were using it to understand not just what we were delivering, but how effectively they were delivering it. So that experience was eye-opening. It taught me measuring engineering isn't about vanity metrics, it's about crafting a shared language of impact that both engineers and business leaders can rally around. Now, fast forward to today, that's exactly what I do at Harness. I lead the developer productivity function where I help Fortune 500 companies translate these engineering data into business intelligence and outcomes. Now, the mission is the same, just, just a little bit larger on the scale. We help organizations measure what matters, improve developer experience, and ultimately align software delivery with real business outcomes.
That is fantastic to hear. And we all have this goal to show what we did, right? So let's say whether it's an IC in their quarterly performance discussion, like
Mhm.
what did you do this quarter, or even let's say a sales rep trying to understand that how sales change quarter over quarter, and what's the relation with product. So underneath all this, it's the engineering excellence, right? Because that sort of creates the flywheel that touches all these different pieces.
Absolutely, absolutely right. So at Harness, right, my role is almost like a translator. I take raw engineering signals, your tickets, your pull request, your pipelines, incidents, and help leaders see the bigger picture. Are we improving time to value? Is developer experience healthy? Right? Are we creating a sustainable delivery system? It's not about just dashboards, right? It's about driving change. You can have 10 or 15 different metrics lined up in a dashboard, but the real value is, are we looking at the right things to drive transformations in your organizations, right? For example, I've run engineering metrics program at cybersecurity companies, API security companies, gaming, hospitality, information technology companies, where leaders wanted both velocity and resilience. Now, my team helps make sense of DORA metrics, augment them with space, style, human factors, and increasingly layer AI insights into the mix. So, in short, my role is about turning engineering data into business intelligence so leaders can make decision with confidence, not just gut feel.
You touched on something key, everyone's favorite two-letter word these days, AI. Theme of season 4 is actually AI meets software delivery.
Mhm.
Now, we want to hear how has engineering productivity, like how you measure it, the definition, and the whole, I guess, the area around it has changed now that we see AI everywhere.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the word productivity used to mean output, right? Your lines of codes and your commits, your velocity points. Uh, but AI has blown up that definition. Now, productivity isn't about typing faster, it's about problem solving capacity. Research backed this up, right? The recent 2025 DORA AI study suggests that 95% of teams are using AI. And yes, 80% say it has improved productivity, but 30% don't even trust the AI generated code. Now, similarly, a report that Harness put together in their AI in software engineering report, Harness shows that 63% of orgs are shipping faster with AI, but 45% of AI generated deployments have problems. That's a significant number, right? So the definition has shifted from how fast we code to how much value, reliable software can we deliver sustainably, augmented by AI. So that's a profound change.
Totally. And to our viewers and listeners, the report that Adib is mentioning in his stat will be sure to link in the description of the podcast as well as the YouTube video. Now, Adib, when you're working with engineering teams, what sort of indicators are you looking at to understand AI? Is even AI helping with those engineering productivity? Because nowadays we don't have an issue with less metrics. We have an issue with too many signals. So which indicators actually matter?
Fair point. I look at three layers essentially, right? The first layer is your developer metrics, which is essentially what DORA helps you to track, right? Are your lead times shrinking? Is deployment frequency up? Are you delivering value to your customers frequently? And is stability maintained, right? If AI helps code faster, but your change failure rate spikes, that's not productivity. That's literally chaos, right? So that's the first layer. The second layer is, yes, the developer experience matters. So are developers spending more time in flow, Or are they bogged down by context switching between 10 different AI tools? The, the real tool sprawl is killing teams with onboarding now taking 2 months and beyond, right? And then the third layer is around value alignment. Sure, you're shipping, but are you shipping features that actually move the business KPIs? AI can flood the pipeline with code, as I mentioned earlier, but if it's not aligned to outcomes, it's noise, right? So I ask, is AI helping developers spend more time on valuable work and less time on toil? If not, we are not measuring the right things.
Yeah, I'll pick up on the point you mentioned that AI can flood the pipeline with new code. So it might uh, make sense that yes, we're getting more code, we're increasing productivity, but then it also introduces risks. How are we making sure that these are good code? These are code ready to be added to production. So how should quality engineering adapt with AI?
Yeah. So, so think of AI as a speed booster on your highway, right? If you don't upgrade your brakes and guardrails, essentially speed just means more accidents. Now, practices I recommend are you want to shift left testing with AI powered test generation. It also increases human in the loop validation. Number two is your feature flags and safety in deployments. Right? So today, less than half the orgs, and the data comes from harnesses AI in software engineering reports, use feature flags for AI generated code. That's a big gap. The third one is guardrails in pipeline. Now, blue green canaries, chaos testing, these are not options anymore. These are mandatory in your software delivery lifecycle. And most importantly, security reviews at AI scale. Since 48% of orgs worry about increased vulnerabilities, again, this is data from our harness report, right? You need to ensure evolve your quality engineering from reactive testing to proactive governance.
I like the term AI scale. Like previously, we talked about doing things at a planet scale or doing things at this scale, but we haven't seen this scale. We haven't seen anything like AI scale, like the pace at which things are being developed and deployed. Uh, that brings me to ask, like, there has to be some misconceptions around as well, right? There's definitely things that are going right, but people are thinking that can AI really do that? So what are some misconceptions that you have heard in the engineering productivity space in the AI era?
Yeah, I hear this a lot, and right off the bat, I feel like uh, a lot of people in the industry think AI immediately equals productivity by default, right? So that's the first myth. The the 2025 State of AI Assisted Software Development by DORA shows that AI adoption amplifies what you already have, which means strong teams get stronger, weak teams get weaker. So if your system is broken, AI just breaks it fast. Right? Second myth is the idea that individual output is the right measure. With AI, one engineer can generate massive amount of code. But if the team cannot test, secure, or deploy it, It's not productivity, it's just waste. So the misconception is productivity is about output. The truth is productivity is about outcomes in context.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And then that I think that's where engineering teams nowadays they crave the product insights, experts like you provide, because without that you can't fix what you can't see, what you can't understand. And
Mhm.
we see a lot of terms like AI driven or AI powered. So, what do you think the difference between an AI powered feature versus truly an AI driven product?
AI powered feature and a truly AI driven product. That's an interesting way to put it. And I love the question. So, in my opinion, AI powered feature is like an autocomplete for your IDE, right? It makes a task easier. But a true AI driven product changes how you work, right? So, for example, a coding assistant that suggests snippets is a feature, but an AI driven product would manage the entire pull request lifecycle. So, detecting risk, generating those tests, assigning reviewers, essentially reshaping your workflows. So, the difference is, are you shrinking or sprinkling AI, or are you re architecting around AI? The winner will be those who do the latter.
Yeah, I can relate. So previously, whenever I needed to, let's say, create a pipeline like a CI/CD pipeline, I'd read the docs and then I try to, let's say, build the CI stage for build and push. Then I'd probably have some sort of approval gate if I need that. Then I'd deploy and then I'd try to understand, okay, what are the configurations I need? Like it would be a tedious process. Like for a production ready pipeline, you need to look at all those details. So now with Harness AI, I can go to
Yep.
I can see like on Harness platform, you have this button create with AI. I can say create me a pipeline with a build stage with the push to let's say ECR, and then I'm going to deploy to GKE, and then I need
Mhm.
this.
And on top of it, adding the security scanners, right?
Yes.
Governance
Yep.
as part of that pipeline, not worrying about creating from scratch, right? So use the Harness AI feature just to create complex pipelines is the beauty, right? So you're not just making simple pipelines. This is complex pipeline with the governance added, with the security scanners added, with the testing added, right? That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, and I think that's where I can relate what you said. It's not just sprinkling AI, but thinking how everything changes with AI
Hmm.
because not only let's say creating pipeline, let's previously when I used to debug pipeline failures, what would do? I'd look at logs, right? Logs after logs, you'd like tail the logs, try to do find, and
Absolutely.
then now I have this button that says debug or let harness AI like debug it for you and find out the issue. And it parses through it reads the entire log and then tells okay exactly like you might have maybe a YAML validation error or something silly that you it would need you probably like hours to troubleshoot.
Absolutely.
So now that we think about how AI is making these changes, how do we evaluate? Like, what sort of, I guess, framework do you have to evaluate if AI is even providing real value to the engineering teams?
Yeah. So right with any technology or any tool, you want to make sure it's adopted, right? What impact is it making and is it efficient, right? So on the adoption side, are developers voluntarily using it even after the novelty wears off? That's where true adoption kicks in, right? I talked about impact. Does it improve throughput and stability? The DORA research shows the best orgs achieve both. throughput, and stability. So there's a huge impact there. And then efficiency, your cost efficiency. So is it reducing downstream toil or creating cloud bills which are going to shock your teams, right? Comes from inefficient AI code, right? So again, the report from Harness suggests 70% of organizations worry about runway cost coming from AI. So if it fails these three checks, it's just a lipstick on a pig, right?
Yeah, yeah. And on top of that, many enterprise customers, for them, data governance is the key issue, the make or break moment that what do they do with data, like their data readiness, data governance. So for those engineering leaders, and especially like you are one of the very few people in the industry who has worked extensively on this. So what sort of data governance and data readiness steps they need to take into account before they can include AI in their workflows?
Yeah, I mean, all this is backed by data, right? You have to have good data. So you start with data hygiene. AI is only as good as the signals it learns from. What does that mean? That means clean labeled engineering data, clear AI usage policies, right? Responsible AI, and then governance for model output. Don't just trust, you got to verify. And don't skip platform investment. DORA found 94% of organizations now rely on platform engineering as the foundation. Without a strong internal platform, your AI adoption will fragment and collapse.
You talked about measurement. Uh, So you mentioned about DORA, but you also measure the framework itself. So we talked about DORA with Nathan Harvey, but I was super interested to hear from you that you actually measure the framework itself. So DORA, SPACE, DevX, so all these engineering excellence and performance frameworks. How do you measure the framework itself?
There are so many different frameworks. Literally, there is a framework every single day, right? E- each framework kind of solves different piece of the puzzle. Right? You mentioned there's DORA, there's Space, there's Heart, there is Flow, DevX, and I can go on and on. But I'll pick the top few, right? So DORA is great for delivery performance, speed, stability. It's simple, actionable, but it's narrow. It only focuses on the lead times, deployment frequency, change failure rate, mean time to restore. Space, on the other hand, adds the human dimensions, satisfaction, flow, collaboration, but it's much harder to measure consistently. Heart, again created by Google, is user focused, which means it's measures how delivery impacts customer experience. It's often overlooked, but it's very vital. Flow framework is the one which connects your engineering work to business value. It bridges the gap between your CIOs and CFOs, right? So in my research paper, I map these on a quadrant. DORA is easy to implement. Space and flow, space and flow are more holistic but harder to operationalize. The real power is combining them together.
And we'll be sure to link Adib's research paper in the description as well. So these frameworks, right? So they were developed way before the explosion of AI tools and AI is becoming mainstream. So how should these frameworks adapt to the AI workflows where traditional metrics might not tell the whole story?
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like there is an opportunity for us as an industry to extend metrics. So for example, in my opinion, DORA could track AI assisted lead time versus the traditional lead time, right? Um, if you look at space could include um, cognitive load from tool sprawls, right? Art could measure trust in AI generated features. What I'm alluding to is frameworks must recognize that AI changes not just speed, but trust, governance, and the human experience side of things.
Yeah, and also accountability, because if you now
Mhm.
have a code that is generated by AI, reviewed by AI, um, where does the accountability line blur? Like, is it you? Is it the admin who allowed certain model? I guess that's something these frameworks would also need to highlight, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Responsible AI policies is another factor to be included in just operationalizing your AI strategy within your organization.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other question, let's say if you're a CTO, you might think that how do I balance developer experience metrics with developer performance metrics?
Yeah. So it's about the cause and the effect. The developer experience is the leading indicator. Developer, rather, delivery performance is the lagging indicator. So if developers report high friction or burnout, which is your space, you will see it downstreams as long downstreams um, as longer lead times, right? Or higher failure rates, which is your DORA, right? So I tell the CTOs and the leaders that don't treat them as compelling dashboards. Treat them as a feedback loop. Healthy experience fuels healthy delivery.
I think that itself could be a blog, like healthy experience fuels
Experience.
healthy delivery, right? And I couldn't agree more because this mindset where we do one time, it's a one time thing, has an issue in itself because it's a feedback loop. Because now it's AI, tomorrow it might be something else. 20 years before, the tools change, the frameworks change, but the mindset needs to be that it's never done. We're continuously improving, seeing
Mhm.
what works, seeing what doesn't, and then change accordingly. That brings me to the last segment of our podcast, where we ask our guest on future. Now, we're not going to ask you to predict what's going to be the winning lotto number. We will ask you, however, although it might be fun if you could predict that. So, how do you see the defining traits of AI-enabled software delivery organizations in, let's say, in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think players who have platform as a strategy are definitely going to have a competitive advantage. Stronger platforms that make AI safe s- and scalable will definitely be the winners, right? Platform that can help you automate your deployments, can automatically create your complex pipelines. We spoke about this a bit earlier. adding your governance, adding your security as part of that pipeline will help organizations deliver faster, but not just faster, right? Safer, in a secure manner, and efficiently. So platform is where I feel players will definitely have a good advantage over players who um, don't have platform as a strategy. That's the key thing. Governance, so AI policies and guardrails embedded in your pipelines. That's the key word here. Will significantly help AI enable software delivery. And human centered, which is they'll they'll view your developer experience as the competitive edge, not just a nice to have, right? So developer experience is key to all of these, right? So to summarize, I want to say platform, governance, and developer experience.
Yeah, I can almost see that triangle: platform governance and developer experience. Maybe in one of the frameworks it shows as a triangle.
Yeah.
Uh, for initiatives, the main thing is mindset, right? Engineering leaders, they need to shift mindset because
Mhm.
things have been done for the last, let's say, 30, 40, 50 years, and it has worked. Now, suddenly, there needs to be a change in mindset. So, for those listeners, those executives, engineering leaders, CTOs who are listening to this podcast, what would be one mindset shift that you'd recommend to them now that would help them in the future?
Yeah. So look, AI is here. It's not really the next big thing, right? It's here, it's generating a lot of code, uh, which is good, but it's bad in terms of the delivery process, right? If you don't have a scalable approach on the right hand side, you are only inviting chaos, noise, and instability into your delivery pipeline. So leaders need to shift their mindset from cool thinking to a system thinking. Buying the next AI assistant will not fix your systemic bottlenecks, but investing in feedback loops, culture, governance, which are part of a platform centered approach, will make every AI tool more valuable.
Yeah, totally. Like AI doesn't fix broken practice, broken system. It just creates problems at a scale. So now you have broken problem at times 100. Totally, like you need to have a solid practice, fix the issues, follow the usual SDLC best practices, and of course, then when you add um, AI at a system level, not just as a one time, then the benefit will be there. So we heard the regular prediction, but I think our listeners want to hear one bold or unconventional prediction where AI and software delivery intersect. What would be one unconventional prediction from you?
Yeah. Um, so I think in 5 years, we'll stop talking about AI assisted coding. We have already seen a boom today. So in 5 years, in my opinion, coding will fully be automated for majority of the use cases. Right? The real differentiator will be AI assisted decision making, helping leaders choose what to build, not just how to build it. I think that's my next frontier.
And for my developer friends who are listening to this podcast, don't feel that developer jobs are going away. You know the term, right? We just need a button to make everything automated. Someone still needs to make that button. So the work of builders will always be there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well said. And thank you for this opportunity to share my experience, my expertise in the developer experience, developer productivity space to your audience. I really appreciate the time.
Of course, thank you. And if our viewers and listeners want to connect with you, read up more about your work, where can they find you on the digital world?
Yeah, so will definitely link my LinkedIn. I have my publications on SSRN and ResearchGate. I do podcast and I do host my own podcast, Metrics That Matter, where I speak to other engineering leaders, learn about their journey, and collectively discuss and talk about just the space around developer experience, how AI is impacting our day-to-day lives. So yeah, those are some of the spaces where they can find me.
Perfect. This was Ship Talk Season 4, Episode 4 with Adeeb Valiulla, a leader in developer productivity and developer efficiency space. Hey, if you are someone as a CTO or engineering leader or an executive would like to talk about engineering excellence, engineering productivity, we'll link Adeeb's podcast in the description. I'm Dewan signing off, and we'll see you in the next episode.